When you think of royal duos, maybe you're picturing the polished Prince William and Harry, or even the glamorous Meghan and Kate. But today, we're talking about a pair of royal sisters who know how to bring the fun, the fashion, and a bit of the unexpected to the royal family. Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. They've got style, they've got charm, and yes, they've got that unmistakable York sass. Let's dive into the lives of these royal sisters who have always stuck together through thick and thin. And trust me, there's a lot more to them than their famous hats at royal weddings. But who are they really? What was it like growing up as royal sisters, always side by side, but with the weight of royal expectations on their shoulders? And how have they stayed so close through it all? Family drama, tabloid gossip, and even a few royal scandals. Stick with us in this very juicy episode as we dive into the lives of Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, from their royal births to their lives as moms and modern-day royals. Born into one of the most famous families in the world, Princess Beatrice Elizabeth Mary made her royal debut on August 8, 1988, joined by her younger sister 2 years later, Princess Eugenie Victoria Helena, on March 23, 1990. These girls were born to the Duke and Duchess of York, Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson, more famously known as Fergie. And if you know anything about their parents, you know that Beatrice and Eugenie weren't exactly going to have quiet royal upbringings. Beatrice and Eugenie grew up with the luxury and privilege of royal life, but weren't quite as burdened by the expectation placed on their cousins, William and Harry. They were always part of the inner circle of the royal family, but their roles have never been as high stakes. Still, that doesn't mean their lives have been free from media attention or family drama. Now, let's talk about their parents for a second. They were a big deal back in the 80s and 90s. Prince Andrew and Fergie were pretty much the power couple of the British royal family. But we all know how that ended. In 1992, they separated and officially divorced by 1996. For Beatrice and Eugenie, it wasn't exactly a walk in the park to see their parents split. Prince Andrew and Fergie's post-divorce relationship was also what always intrigued people. Co-parenting goals? Maybe. Living together after their divorce? Definitely. Fergie once said that they were the happiest divorced couple in the world. And through all the media chaos, Beatrice and Eugenie stayed pretty grounded. That close-knit family vibe clearly worked. Both sisters have often talked about how supportive their parents were despite their breakup, and it seems like that positive family atmosphere is something they've carried into their own lives. So, what was it like for Beatrice and Eugenie growing up as royal sisters? Well, unlike William and Harry, who were groomed for royal duty, Beatrice and Eugenie's lives were a bit more low-key, though I wouldn't exactly call it a normal childhood. Life wasn't always easy for the York sisters, though. Beatrice was diagnosed with dyslexia when she was 7, and instead of hiding it, she talked openly about her struggles and became an advocate for those with learning difficulties, even writing about it.
One of the reasons why I think it's a great time to be dyslexic now is because that narrative is starting to change. Employers are very aware that they do have to rely on a different set of skill sets.
Eugenie, on the other hand, faced her own health challenge, scoliosis. She underwent surgery to correct it at the age of 12, and she's since become an advocate for children dealing with the same condition. But here's the thing, these two didn't just survive their challenges, they thrived. Eugenie even made a point to show off her scoliosis scar on her wedding day, turning it into a statement of pride. But it's not all challenges and hardships. Beatrice and Eugenie had a pretty fun childhood too. Despite being royal, they've always had a reputation for being down-to-earth and close with each other. You've probably seen the pictures of them at events like Trooping the Colour, where they're often caught laughing or whispering to each other like best friends. Despite their privileged upbringing, the York sisters have always had a bit of a reputation for being more relatable than some of their royal cousins. Okay, we're talking about the hats. In 2011, William and Kate's wedding. While everyone else was focused on the bride and groom, Beatrice and Eugenie's head-turning outfits at Prince William and Kate Middleton's wedding became memes overnight. and not exactly in a flattering way. But they laughed it off, showed that they could roll with the punches, and even auctioned off Beatrice's hat for charity, raising over £80,000. Fashion wins? I'd say so. Now, despite all the media attention, Beatrice and Eugenie have worked hard to make their own marks. They aren't full-time working royals like William and Harry, but they've carved out impressive careers. Beatrice has a background in finance and consulting, while Eugenie made a name in the art world working at prestigious galleries like Hauser and Worth. And let's not forget their charity work. Eugenie is particularly passionate about modern slavery and founded the Anti-Slavery Collective with her best friend. Beatrice has been an advocate for children's education, dyslexia awareness, and women's empowerment. So while the media might focus on their fashion, there's a lot going on between those stylish hats. Of course, we can't talk about Beatrice and Eugenie without mentioning the elephant in the room, their father, Prince Andrew, who has been embroiled in controversy for years. His scandalous ties to Jeffrey Epstein have cast a shadow over the family, and while the sisters have mostly stayed out of the limelight when it comes to Andrew's legal battles, they've still stood by him in public. For example, Beatrice was seen driving to Balmoral to be with Andrew during the height of the controversy. But there's no denying that this has added a layer of difficulty to their already complex lives as royals. And speaking of rumors, there's always been speculation about the relationship between Beatrice and Eugenie and the rest of the royal family. There have been whispers about tension between the York sisters and their cousins. Some say that with William and Harry taking on more prominent roles, Beatrice and Eugenie have been sidelined a bit. Others point to rumored tension between the York sisters and the Cambridge family. Particularly with Kate, they don't seem to be too bothered by it. In fact, the sisters have carved out lives that blend royal duty with something much more modern. While there's no hard evidence of a feud, royal watchers have often pointed out that the sisters don't seem as close to William and Kate as they are to Harry and Meghan. But honestly, these rumors tend to be more about the media stirring the pot than anything substantial. But let's not forget about their love stories. Eugenie tied the knot with her longtime love, Jack Brooksbank, in 2018 at a gorgeous royal wedding that had all the glam, but still felt very Eugenie. Elegant, yet down to earth. Her wedding was another royal affair that drew in lots of attention, not least because she invited so many celebs, like Demi Moore, Robbie Williams, and even supermodel Cara Delevingne, who turned up in a suit and a top hat. And we can't forget that Eugenie's wedding was the first time we saw a more relaxed side of the royals post Harry and Meghan's dramatic exit from official royal life. Beatrice's wedding was a bit more low-key, thanks to the pandemic, but she didn't let that stop her from having her fairy tale moment. In July 2020, she married Edoardo Mapelli Mozzi in a private ceremony at Windsor, rocking one of Queen Elizabeth's vintage gowns, by the way. Talk about a royal throwback. Now, here's where things get really cute. Eugenie is now a mom to two adorable boys, August and Ernest, and Beatrice welcomed her daughter Sienna in 2021. And let's not forget, Beatrice is also a stepmom to Edo's son, Wolfie. So, not only are they modern royals, but they're modern moms too. And judging by their Instagram posts, they're absolutely loving it. Through all these changes, marriage, motherhood, and balancing royal duties, the sisters have stayed as close as ever. It's clear that Beatrice and Eugenie share a special bond. They're often seen together at royal events, and the way they support each other is always heartwarming. Despite all the challenges and controversies swirling around their family, these two seem like each other's biggest fans. The duo talked often about how their bond as sisters has helped them navigate life in the spotlight. They've always had each other's backs, from supporting one another through personal challenges like Beatrice's struggles with dyslexia and Eugenie's scoliosis surgery, to standing side by side at public events. You can tell they genuinely enjoy each other's company, and their public appearances together often show them laughing, joking, and just being real. It's no wonder they've become a fan favorite duo among royal watchers. So what's next for Beatrice and Eugenie? Well, it seems like they're pretty happy doing things their own way. In the end, Beatrice and Eugenie are proof that you can be born into royalty but still find a way to be yourself. Fashion faux pas, tabloid gossip and all, they've managed to stay close, raise families, and create their own path away from the spotlight when needed. And that's exactly why we love them. Thanks for tuning in today. Let us know in the comments which royal you'd like to hear more about. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more royal deep dives.